Do furry YouTubers have a responsibility to this fandom? I'll tell you my opinion, coming up next. Oh, hello. I'm Fenric the Forgotten Wolf, and I'm going to tell you what I think about furry YouTuber responsibility. But before we get into that, hello, my name is Fenric. I am the Forgotten Wolf. I am a new furry and a new YouTube content creator. I have been doing this on YouTube for a little over 9 months now, so we're getting pretty close to the 1-year mark, at which point I will no longer be calling myself a new furry and new YouTube content creator. But until I've crossed 1 year, I'm just gonna say I'm still new. So take that into account with everything you're gonna hear in this video. You know, being a furry YouTuber isn't just about fursuits and convention vlogs. Though, to be honest, those are pretty awesome. But it's also about responsibility. Every time I hit that upload button, I am not just sharing content. Okay? Because whether I want to believe it or not, I could be shaping perceptions or even influencing decisions. Whether my channel was at 15 subscribers or now over 1,500, I feel like as a furry YouTube content creator, I definitely have some responsibility. Now I'm going to preface this, my furry friends, by saying that this list is just my own opinion. There are lots of different types of channels on YouTube, even within the furry subgenre. So different things are going to be important for different creators. I'm not necessarily giving any advice here because I'm not really an authority on anything, but I'm going to be real about the types of responsibilities that I've been considering lately as a furry YouTube creator myself. So today, I am counting down the top 4 responsibilities that this furry creator takes very seriously. From staying in YouTube's good graces, to lifting up the fandom we all love, to being mindful of our potential influence. Let's get into it. Okay. Okay, do you want to know what I have to say about furry YouTube creator responsibility? Well, of course you do. Why else would you still be watching the video? So let's just dive right in, shall we? So one responsibility that furry YouTube content creators have, actually any content creator that exists on this platform, is to YouTube itself. YouTube publishes what they call the YouTube Community Guidelines, and essentially this is a set of rules that all YouTube creators have to follow. Now, my channel is not monetized on YouTube, but if it were, there's a little bit more of a rabbit hole to go down to, because then you have the advertiser-friendly guidelines, which is another set of rules that would sit on top of the normal YouTube community guidelines, and certain videos might not be appropriate for certain types of advertising. Luckily, I don't have to think about that because my channel is not monetized. All right. So that's definitely one responsibility. Now, I bring this one up in the number 4 position because there are definitely some furry YouTubers who I think go right up to that line. Maybe they don't cross it, but they go right up to the line of what's acceptable under the YouTube community guidelines. I am just saying. My channel has stayed pretty far away from that. I have been very cautious about talking about certain aspects of the fandom on my channel, and YouTube community guidelines is one of the reasons. The other reason we will get to shortly. All right, so YouTube. YouTube community guidelines, advertising friendly guidelines. Moving on. All right, so number 3. I feel like as furry YouTubers, we at least have somewhat of a responsibility to positively represent the fandom. We should be as positive as we possibly can when discussing various aspects of being a furry and the furry life. Now, my furry friends, I'm not saying we should be disingenuous about it and just pretend like certain parts of the fandom don't exist when they clearly do. I don't think that's necessarily doing anyone any favors. But, my furry friends, as representatives of the fandom, we should be very careful in terms of in what context our words are going to be taken and speak about such things very carefully. You will notice, my furry friends, that I have rarely, if ever, strayed into the topic area of NSFW on my actual YouTube channel. There's a reason for that, you know? I've always tried to kind of find that line between, like, well, being able to discuss something that's a legitimate topic, but also not really, cross the line, either in terms of what impression do we want to give, or even in terms of just YouTube community guidelines for that matter. So yes, as furry YouTube content creators, we are likely being seen as being representative of the entire fandom. So that means we need to be very aware of our words and be very careful about how we approach certain topics. All right, number 2 is that we as furry YouTube content creators need to be respectful to other YouTube content creators. We have a responsibility to be respectful and professional to one another. Now, my furry friends, like with the last one, that's also not to say that one should just immediately put one's trust in someone just because they happen to be a furry YouTube content creator, or a furry for that matter, when it comes right down to it. There are some amazing furry content creators on YouTube. I learned everything I know, basically from just watching other furry creators. Yeah, that's why my videos are so bad. I'm just kidding. Oh my god. I'm just an old wolf. I am just an... Where is my wine? Found the wine. Cheers. What was I even talking about? Other YouTube creators. Yeah. So, I mean, this old wolf has been around the block with other YouTube creators many a time. You can kind of you could okay. All right. This is what Fenric has to say about other furry YouTube content creators. I love you. I love all of you. Yes, even you. I love all of you. What was I even talking about? Responsibility to be respectful to other creators. Well, yeah, duh. Obviously, we have that. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just move on to number 1. The number 1 responsibility that I feel like I have as a furry YouTube content creator. Above all, We as furry YouTube content creators carry a deep responsibility to the people who watch us, support us, and sometimes even travel across state lines just to meet us. I learned this firsthand at my first furry convention, where I was completely unprepared for the number of folks who recognized me from YouTube and came up to me for hugs and selfies and to share their heartfelt sentiments and personal stories with me. That's incredible. We have to remember that when we step into a public space, like a convention, we're not just attendees. We're public figures in a community that thrives on connection. Selfies, hugs, conversations, they're all part of the package. And it's up to us to make sure that those interactions reflect the best of what this fandom stands for: kindness, inclusion, and joy. I really wanted to talk about this one because I have seen, both in person and in videos online, of some of these YouTuber fan interactions kind of going sideways. I've seen some weird, awkward moments, some dismissive behavior on the part of the YouTuber. Creators sometimes forgetting that their fans are real people with real feelings. We could do better than that. I mean, I definitely try to embrace that madness as much as possible, my furry friends. Every hug, every selfie, every, "oh, I love your videos," is a chance to make someone feel welcome and valued. And let's not forget, we're often being watched, even when we don't realize it, right? Cameras and cell phones are everywhere. And while the fandom is pretty darn respectful about things like, hey, no pictures in the headless lounge, and we just kind of know not to snap pics of each other with our heads off sometimes, we still need to stay aware of that, because our behavior in public isn't really just personal once you're on YouTube, right? It's part of our brand and our message. This responsibility, of course, extends to how we interact online, too. Whether it's replying to comments, responding to DMs, or just how we carry ourselves on social media. Every post and every reply sends a message. It's easy to forget that there are real people behind those usernames, but they are watching how we handle praise, how we handle criticism, and everything in between. We need to always be aware of how much a kind word can make someone's day, and how much a careless one can do real harm. I've been on both sides of that equation, my furry friends. I know exactly what it feels like. So yeah, first and foremost, we have a responsibility to those that watch us. So you see, my furry friends, being a furry YouTube creator isn't just about uploading videos. It's about showing up for YouTube, for the fandom, and for each other. Every video I post, every interaction I have, and every moment I'm seen becomes an opportunity to represent the best of what this fandom can be. I'm not saying we need to look at everything through rose-colored glasses, but a positive attitude can sure go a long way. Now, I generally stop short of giving advice at all, because I don't consider myself to be much of an authority on anything. But if I did have some kind of message to send to other furry creators out there, then it's this. Let's create with care. Let's lead with the heart that this fandom is known for. And let's never forget that behind every view is a person who is choosing to spend their time with us. Yeah, I think we have a responsibility. I'm staying wolfy, my furry friends. We do not call people out on this channel, so I am not going to mention any names, and we will move on to the number third thing. We will Yeah, I probably had too much wine to even try and do this right now. I am just an old wolf. I am just an old wolf, everybody. I am just an old wolf. Woof. Okay. Okay. What were we talking about again? What were we talking about again? What's number? That was number 4. What's number 3? Oh, yeah, that's no good. Gosh, no good. Gosh, no good. We'll just go in here. Present an inaccurate picture of what the fandom is necessarily all about. Blah, blah, blah. I should start that over. You will... You will notice, my viewers, that there are certain topics that this old wolf has so far pretty much stayed away from discussing on the YouTube channel. Yeah, you gotta come over to Telegram for that stuff. Oh my god. Cut that out. Cut that out.